So today I'm going to present several tools that we're using and also what we have done to help our stakeholders. If we move first, I'm going to talk about tool we are using with our regional stakeholder group, with our local stakeholders that we wanted to show them how digital technologies are important, because in our project Carpe Diem, we are working about digital innovation ecosystems. So the idea of the project was to show how digital innovation is important, to raise the awareness about digitalization, about digital transformation. And of course, we wanted to do this on site, so in physical meetings with our stakeholders. However, because of the pandemic, this was not possible. And that is why we needed to go online, to move online. And first, it was quite difficult because in our regional stakeholder group, we have many stakeholders from different age and probably most of you don't know what is Carpe Diem about the project, but it's about peripheral and rural regions around Europe. They didn't have the digital skills necessary to use such digital tools. So the first thing what we did is we organized a webinar with our regional stakeholders, and we had 100 people at this webinar where we showed them different tools like Zoom, like WebEx, and so on, so how these tools can be used at their work. So we wanted to show them a very concrete example of how, for example, Zoom can be used for their council meetings at the municipalities. This was organized together with our partners, the Association of Municipalities and Towns. So why we were using Zoom at the beginning is because we were used to Zoom at our faculty, and also we were using Zoom with our project partners. And at that moment, for us, it seemed like the easiest tool for people who have really low digital skills. This was the thing we were using with the regional stakeholder group. And then when we were discussing with our project partners, so the Carpe Diem project partners, we said that we want to use different tools just to see what are the pros and cons of each tool. And then to decide what tool we want to use. And we started using WebEx. So why WebEx? Because at our university, we already had the license and we were able to use, and we wanted to check all the features that are offered there. So this was the only reason. We wanted to test as many digital tools as possible, and to see how user-friendly they are, also what features they're offering us, and so on and so on. I want to mention here that end of May, we're planning our first larger international event. And this was also the reason why we wanted to test several different tools, because we wanted to find the best one to use it for this larger event. Then in Slovenia, we have in Carpe Diem two partners. So one is the University of Ljubljana, where I'm coming from, and the other one is the Ministry of Public Administration. So we're both partners as well, but as you can see in our communication with the Ministry of Public Administration, the tool we're using is Microsoft Teams, yet another tool. And maybe now you're wondering why we're using so many different tools here. But I think it's very hard to choose one tool only, because for example, with the Ministry of Public Administration, they also have the license, and we have the license at the University of Ljubljana. So in our daily work, we are quite used to using Microsoft Teams, and that is why when we know that we both are using this tool, we're using this tool. But Microsoft Teams on the other side, maybe there's more features, and it's more difficult to use for people who just are starting using digital tools for online meetings and online collaboration. So it's very hard to choose one tool and use that tool only, because different organizations, different people are used to different tools. And then you cannot force someone to use a tool that he or she doesn't want to. When choosing a tool, it is very important to ask yourself, so the first thing is how easy is to use that tool. As I mentioned at the beginning, especially this is when we are talking about people with low digital skills. As we are aware of, especially if you're working in rural regions, in rural areas, people in those areas have lower digital skills. In our case, because we were working with public administrators also in rural areas, many of them were afraid to use such tools. So when they saw how easy it is to use, so these simple steps, then also they lost the fear of using such tools. So then the next question is, what is the onboarding process like? So we all need some time to get used to the tools. And this time, if it's shorter, then of course it's much better. If you know, for example, how to connect, then how to get the voice, how to get the picture, how to share the screen, and so on and so on. If this is quite straightforward, so it's easy to remember, and then this onboarding process is very short, and also this means that it will be for you easy to use, and you're going to be fond of that tool. Then the next question is how to integrate with existing technology. Because we're all using other technology, for example, Dropbox or OneDrive or Google Docs for sharing documents, for online collaboration. And when we are putting our physical meetings online, we want tools that will be able to integrate with that existing technology, so that we will be easy to share what we are doing also with this communication technology. The next question is, does the tool offer features that meet our needs? So many of you were explaining today, the previous presenters were explaining, they had pools. Also at this meeting we have pool. For example, sharing screens, sharing picture, video of the presenter, the number of people who we want to have at the meeting. So is it enough to have a tool with only 50 people, or do we need more, like for example today 500 people? So we need to check what are we using the tool for, and then what the features are offered there. Very important question, is the tool reliable? So we want a tool that will work, that we will be online all the time, that we will hear all the speakers, that we will be able to make recordings, we won't lose information. So this is a very important question. The question that was for us very important, because it was also, we were working with the public administrators, is the tool safe? So what is the case with the cybersecurity? Is it, we don't want someone else to hear our talks at the project meetings. And last but not least is how much the tool costs. So we know that we want to be effective, that we don't want to spend a lot of money. So we need to find out what features do we need, and then what is the price that we want to pay for that. So because I mentioned so many tools today, and of course, when we were working, especially with our regional stakeholders, they were asking us, so which tool would you suggest us now to use? And this is very difficult because they all have different needs, so they have different things what to use the tool for. And also today we mentioned several situations, like we want to use the tool for internal project meetings, we want to use the tool for communication with the regional stakeholders, for large international events, and so on and so on. And that is why we wanted to make a list of various tools that can be used for online collaboration, and to test, just to present these tools and give the opportunity to the stakeholders to decide on their own. So the link that you have seen on my previous slide, and I think it is shared in chat as well, is where you can find information about different solutions. And here you can see about communication and cooperation, about joint document editing, organizing teams, remote desktop, and some other tools. And as you can see, for example, what are the things that are offered. So what the solution offers, a short description of the tool, the pros and cons, the interface, so whether you need to reach it, whether you can reach it on the web, or it's also mobile version available, more information about that tool, and where you can find it. So we have made a list of these tools, and we translate it into English as well. So you are very welcome to use this list and use it for your own needs. And I never lose an opportunity to say why I admire Interreg Europe project so much. Is because in Interreg Europe we're able to participate, to work with partners from all Europe, and to share what we are doing. So here I would like just to share with you a perfect collaboration between Interreg Europe partners, because before this event, before we were preparing this event, this was available only in Slovene, so we just translated it yesterday to be able to show it to you. But our partners from Carpe Diem, our Spanish partners, they find it very useful, and they translated very soon in Spanish and made it available for their regional stakeholders. So we were very happy that also partners could use our work that was done with the project. So this was shortly what I wanted to present, and I will be more than happy to answer to your questions.